Hey everyone, Mr. MC here. This is a guide for round 24 of the Nations Cup. Let's get this started. Your first braking point is going to be this line that goes across the track. So start to brake just after you pass it, so you brake hard for a short moment, slowly ease off of the brakes, and when you want to start to fully accelerate, go up to third gear. Take these first two turns at full throttle, then bring yourself to the left, and once the track on the left starts to go away from you, that is when you want to use a little bit of braking. Just bring yourself all the way to the inside of this turn. Do a little bit of throttle control, then brake a bit more, just stick to the right side of the turn and carefully accelerate. And then you want to start to brake when the wide curb on the left ends. You brake hard for a very short moment, then control your braking power so the car can rotate around this turn while you slow down at the same time. Try to be nice and careful when you accelerate out, since this car is a little understeery and you do not want to end up on the grass. Now stay on the right side of the track and brake shortly after the red area on the right starts. Bring yourself all the way to the inside of the turn. Make use of the track limits here on Lago Maggiore. Do a short lift off of the throttle here if needed. Then try to bring yourself all the way to the right side of the track and brake before the curb on the left ends. You'll be braking hard for a short while. Bring yourself all the way to the inside of the turn and stay on the left. Then lift off the throttle just to get the car to rotate, and then accelerate your way out on third gear. But that is all for the lap guide. Let's go ahead and talk about the strategies. For the qualifying session, you have 10 minutes to try to get a good qualifying time. So what you want to do, especially if you are in the Audi TT Cup, is to 1. Be nice and careful on your outlap. You do not want to stress the tires out early on. Then do one flying lap, jump out to the menu, and then jump back in. And that's basically what you're going to do for the entire qualifying session. I would like to note that the slipstream has been changed. Its range has now been reduced from 1.5 seconds to 0.8 of a second. And the slipstream is stronger as well. So if you're in a race, you'll notice yourself pulling closer to the car ahead of you a lot sooner than when it was at 1.5 seconds. So because of that, you're probably going to be better off just qualifying on your own, just as you see here. Don't really worry too much about the slipstream, as you do risk ending up right behind someone and you have to slow yourself down, which will end up hurting your own qualifying time. So in the end, there's actually a bit less to talk about for these qualifying strategies. Once again, you're going to be a little better off just qualifying on your own, so you don't end up getting someone's slipstream and end up right on their rear bumper soon after. And once again, especially in the Audi TT Cup, do one flying lap, jump out, and then jump back in. For the race strategy, the only car that you have to think about using is the Audi TT Cup. So this car has really good acceleration and it has really good fuel saving efficiency. And because I just said that, you now know that this is going to be a fuel saving race. And also, just because you're in the TT Cup, since this car is a front wheel drive, this is also a tire saving race. But going back to the car itself, one thing that is pretty interesting about this car is that even though you will be fuel saving by shifting when the bar on the bottom of the screen is at around 50 to 75% full, the acceleration is still really darn good on this thing. So because of that, you still have really good pace, so you're going to want to go with this car and only with this car, the Audi TT Cup. No other car matches its pace and fuel saving pace, so you're pretty much stuck with this car. So when it comes to the tire strategy, you only want to do 7 laps on the racing medium tires, and you're going to be doing that 3 times. So you'll be doing 3 7-lap stints on the racing medium tires, and you'll only do 1 2-lap stint on the racing hard tires. So when you're on the racing medium tires, you want to be very careful with your throttle input, because the moment that you start to get too much wheel spin while you're turning, you're going to melt the tires away, and your 6th to 7th laps on the racing medium tires are going to be miserable. So just do lots of throttle control when you're exiting out of turns, ease off the throttle if needed, and you can also go up another gear as you are exiting a turn. Your goal with these racing medium tires is just to have them last just long enough so you don't have to slow down into a snail's pace just to make a turn. Since this car, once again, it's a front wheel drive, it's pretty understeery, especially as you're accelerating out of a turn. So you want to have those racing medium tires last you the entire 7 laps. And as you saw earlier, you will have to refuel at some point, so the fuel saving is going to come in pretty handy here. If you are shifting at around 75%, you should have around 19 laps worth of fuel, and if you shift closer to 50%, then that should go up to around 20 laps worth of fuel. And also the slipstream will come in handy here, so you can just hang out right behind someone, your car will go faster, and you'll be able to save a bit more fuel along the way. And last but not least, the racing medium and hard tires are required for this race, so make sure that you equip both of them at some point in the race so you do not get a 1-minute penalty. And actually, the actual last thing I do want to say is that this race is a long race. It's a 33-minute race, so you want to make sure that you are fully rested and prepared for a long race, especially if you are doing the manufacturer races as well, as that race is 34 minutes long. So let's go ahead and quickly summarize everything here. So this nation's race is a 33-minute race. The only car you want to use for this race is the Audi TT Cup, since it can accelerate pretty fast even as you are fuel saving. Shift at around 50 to 75% to try to save some fuel, and you will have to refuel, so the more you fuel save, the less time you'll spend refueling. Racing medium and hard tires are required for this race, so equip both tires at some point. And the tire strategy that you want to go with are 3 7-lap stints on the racing medium tires and only 1 2-lap stint on the racing hard tires. You can swap the order of the tires, so if you are starting in the back, you can start with the racing hard tires to get that over with, but if you're starting towards the middle or the front, then you can have the racing hard tire stint either in the middle or at the very end of the race. And finally, you just want to try to save your tires, especially on the TT Cup, by being easy on the throttle, do lots of throttle control, and on some turns, you can even exit at a higher gear to prevent that wheel spin from occurring. But anyways, that is pretty much it for this guide. I'm going to go ahead and sign off now. So this is Mr. MCA, wishing you a good race, and I'll see you in the next video.